Today, we have Ruben here, black belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Showed me a couple things on the mat just to get me ready for tomorrow so I can understand his world and his culture a little bit better. He kicked the shit out of me. He taught me how to use all my energy ineffectively so I can just get fucked up by a black belt for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was trying to go like a little harder, but I was like, if I go harder, he's gonna go harder. I was like, maybe if I go to one, he'll stay at one. And then he showed me actually the right way to defend myself without losing all my breath, all my energy, and exerting myself. So I have you here.
Well, no, this is nothing. You're not gonna do anything from here because I'm on your head. Mom,
yeah, I got nothing.
You have no lever points here. All you have here is strength. It's like when he had my whole face and you just kept squeezing and squeezing, it wasn't hurting me. So you're wasting energy here. And look, I could choke you all with one hand. I could just sit here and just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and drop my body back until you're going to sleep, right? And then when I lock my hands on top, it's even worse. So from here, what you have to do, you have to kill my hips or you have to be able to move my head away. You just can't squeeze my head. So try to build a frame underneath. Slide this in here. Reinforce your wrist with your hand. And now start pushing up straight to the sky.
Drive out.
Now look, you see how my voice changed?
Yeah.
So here I'm trying to squeeze, right? I'm squeezing and squeezing. You push this here, right? Yeah. Now you create the space. So now from here, you have to think where you're gonna go. So you're gonna go in towards my arm or away from my arm? Okay, so now you go there, you're gonna do that shrimp that I showed you. Shrimp your hips out. Turn your hips out this way and slide them. No, that's a bridge. Leave this leg flat, put this leg flat, and now scoop your butt out towards me and push at the same time.
There it is.
Now you're out.
It's so technique driven.
It's all about leverage, you know? You take everything and you use simple body mechanics and you create angles and leverage that you can get anybody that's bigger than you off of you know, without using any strength. You're not breathing as hard, you're not exerting a lot of energy, you're just using angles.
I also Managed to learn and capture a couple of things. So now I feel a little more dangerous than I did before I got here.
You're listening to Behind the Flame, coming to you live from the Dragon's Lair at Falcor headquarters in Kalispell, Montana. Our guest today is active law enforcement officer and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Ruben Alvarez. And as usual, folks, we are doing a giveaway this episode that will include a prize pack from both Blue Line Tactical and Kenzie's Optics, as well as some swag and Falcor Fury Mag extensions. To enter this giveaway, head over to our latest Instagram post at falcor.defense on Instagram. Like and tag a friend, and then head over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review with your Instagram handle in that. Almost lost it there for a second.
You're doing good. Keep going.
And that will enter you for the giveaway for this episode. And here's our host, John Bartolo.
Sam, you kept it together to the very end. You made it to that last line. I'm proud of you. It's come a long way.
Well, there's a lot of stuff to say at the beginning of the show to kick it off, man.
I know. It's a lot. You got to get your notes together. You got to be prepared.
They're all here. I am prepared.
More preparedness. So
you literally threw that last thing at me like 12 seconds before we went.
I try not to glare at you. It's like no eye contact. So
I'm right here.
I do want to take a minute to thank everyone in the studio. D. Mitchell Designs, the production crew, Scummins over there with the morning announcements, Haley J. Photo, editing away. She's wearing some interesting pants today. She looks like she got attacked by a panther on the way into the office. I think she should return them personally. Maybe we can have Austin pan on them later. They're more than just ripped.
They're shredded.
They're shredded, even the back. I mean, I've never seen those types of aggressive cuts. But maybe a Wolverine got her on the way.
They're lightning cuts.
Speed cuts. And then, of course, we have Austin, the full-time employee, no longer the intern. I've upgraded him.
I appreciate that.
He's put in a week of hard work. He's earned the full-time designation.
What? Multiple weeks.
And, of course, in studio, we have the lovely Melinda Sanju. We haven't seen her since her birthday. She looks lovelier than ever. She's back in studio. How is it being 25 and a half now, Melinda? Oh. I am pumped up.
Dude, I'm excited.
I'm always pumped up, but it's because I'm on the Bang energy drinks. I'm on the Bangs.
Before we go any farther, John did say yesterday, before the episode started, that he thinks this is a sneaker episode.
It's a sleeper. It's a sleeper.
Yeah.
Sneaker, sleeper.
Good. You're going to like it.
It's all the same. But we've covered all the bases. We've had all the tactical kids in. We've had the SEALs.
Navy SEAL. Yep.
We've had the Army. We've had the Marine representation. We've had the Navy. We've had it all. Now we have a ninja. So I'm really hoping to appease the tactical gods with this podcast and the shooter gods and everybody else. But we have a ninja in studio. So I'll start by saying Ruben and I have gotten close since, taking Tony's class together. I had the opportunity to RSO a law enforcement class that Falcor and the team here and Jason and Melinda were so kind to sponsor and really get behind this year, which I thought was a great thing. It was a free law enforcement course to all active Leos that were willing to sign up. It was something that a lot of the sponsors poured a lot of money and time and resources into that I thought was well spent. And I know that's something that's near and dear to a lot of our hearts here, the training and putting more training out there. We're going to get into some things with this guy. We're going to talk about a lot, especially the rise of jiu-jitsu in law enforcement and the rise of training in law enforcement. But he's done the tour. He's looked at the rifles. He's seen the machines. He's gotten a taste for everything. He is an active Leo, and he is a black belt. But more importantly, he's my friend. Aww. Hi, Ruben.
Aww.
Boom. So I want to get to the first question right off the bat. You get into this, and everybody's been asking this. Meeting a black belt or talking to a black belt is a lot like, I would put it along the lines of you meeting someone who is a true subject matter expert. I mean, I'm fair in saying that, right, Sam? A true expert, and recognized by their peers, recognized by what they represent as an expert in their craft. Take me through this a little bit, Ruben. Where does this start? Where does this begin? Talk to me about the little boy at 15 years old getting beat up by girls.
And how far into the journey are you? That's another thing I think people will be curious about.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to get to where you are?
Get where you are and where you want to go.
So I started jiu-jitsu when I was around 15, 16. I was doing martial arts prior to that. I was doing Aikido at like 14 years old. So I was like the fat, kid that got picked on.
I was that kid. I did Taekwondo when I was in middle school. I was
like,
the fat Taekwondo kid.
Go try to talk to your crush, and you say, I like meatloaf. And so, You know what I'm talking about. Like, there's no confidence. You know, I was the asthma kid. I still got my asthma pump here. You know, you saw me take 2 hits because I was getting nervous next to John.
And you were in band.
Yeah, I was in band. I played music. A lot of people don't know that I did music. So, yeah, I was like 14 years old, fat, out of shape, you know.
Geeking out,
you know, band geek. And I was like, I had enough of this. I had enough of being fat. I need to do a martial arts. So I did Aikido with, like, my godfather. And then one day he shows me a Gracie's in Action video. And a lot of people know who Hoist Gracie, Hoyler Gracie is. Like all those, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guys, the brothers. So I started watching this Gracie in Action video with my uncle. And I see these small guys beating up these big guys, and I look at my uncle, and I'm like, can he beat you up? My uncle's like, yep. I'm like, the hell I'm doing Aikido for? I need to do this stuff. This is, like, legit. So I started doing Jiu-Jitsu. My uncle introduced me to his Jiu-Jitsu coach, and I started out with a guy named Mike Cardozo, and then I started with the Valente brothers, who are under Elio Gracie, and they're, like, from that lineage, and they're very self-defense oriented. So I started doing the self-defense, like, Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, man, this is awesome, but I want to compete. Like, I want to test myself, see how I could do it, you know? And I started with Mike Cardozo, who was like a heavy jiu-jitsu guy back then, like competition. And I started with all those guys, and then I started getting into competing. And then eventually one day when I got my blue belt, like, everything just started clicking. So I went like pro jiu-jitsu around like 17 years old, 16 and a half. I started traveling and competing all over. And then from there, it just like stuck with me throughout high school. You know, I left music. I was going to do music in college, and I was like, nah, I'm going to do the jiu-jitsu route. And eventually I did jiu-jitsu, started teaching, met a bunch of people, and then got into law enforcement. And then, yeah, we're here now.
So take me through those so people understand, because I'm going to ask some questions that are very rudimentary. How do the belts go, and like at what rough ages do you hit these different segments? And
is there like a certain amount of time?
Yeah.
What?
If you're like a hobbyist and you're not a competitor, they'll do it by like class, time, experience. For competitors, they hold you like on another level. You know, like some coaches rather you win prestigious tournaments and then they'll promote you, or you know, they'll hold you a little bit, and then whenever they feel ready to promote you, they'll promote you. It all depends on the instructor and the academy that you're with. Yeah, the belt system is white, blue, purple, brown, black. Some people add an extra belt in between white and blue because white to blue takes a little while to get, and some people get discouraged, so they'll put like a green belt, which means they're like an intermediate white belt, but they're not ready for the blue yet. I think each belt you go through like little journeys within, and you explore your jiu-jitsu and you find where you're at. For me, the hardest belt was when I was a purple belt. Some people, it's just going from white to blue. Others, it's, you know, they had it easy the whole way, and then they get to black, and boom, that's where they're experiencing most of their journey. So it varies on like the person and like what they want out of jiu-jitsu. You know, some guys want to compete. Some guys just want to do it as a hobbyist. You're seeing a lot of actors now get into jiu-jitsu. Like Russell Brand just dropped a video on jiu-jitsu and what it means to him. You know, I saw Vince Vaughn last week in the locker room at the Gracie Academy. So you see all these like actors now doing jiu-jitsu. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, so what's the time frame from white to black for the average? You said hobbyist, so the average person versus a competitor. Like, what would be like the high and the low? Like, would it be 3 years? Would it be 5 years? Would it be?
No, jiu-jitsu, it takes like 10 years, 10, 12 years. It took me like 8.5, I think, to get my black belt. And
So you're above average.
So you're above average.
You got guys like BJ Penn. BJ Penn got his black belt in like 3 years.
Wow.
Mike Fowler, another American jiu-jitsu guy, got his black belt, I think, in 4 years and was winning like black belt tournaments.
But these are guys with rich backgrounds, correct?
Mike Fowler's not rich.
No, not wealthy, but like experienced.
Experience.
No, you got guys that just come in and they're just so
Immerse
they
into-
just
they immerse
train
into it.
2-3 times a day. They just eat, sleep, breathe it. Some of them don't have jobs. Some of them, you know, they have money and they could do it. You know, some guys just live out of the gym. You know, I know guys that train it. They have like a little job there, here and there, but they're at the gym all the time and they live at the gym. They breathe the gym. You know, so.
So I know you do this journey, and you reach this point where you're racking up these belts. Somewhere along the way, and I know we have photos of it. There's Ruben, the law enforcement explorer.
Police explorer.
We can
The
show
police
it if you
explorers.
want.
We want to see it. We want to see it. So, as we pull the photo, tell me kind of where the law enforcement. I know you come from a law enforcement family.
Yeah.
So tell me kind of how that comes into play, and at what point you're kind of like, geez, I want to be a cop.
Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a cop. I showed up to my mom's police academy graduation when I was like 4 years old, in like a cop uniform with like a little pistol, and they have it like me pinning the badge on my mom. There's like a little thing that we do in our family with like the newborn kids, like the babies, that they wear the uniform. So like I have my dad's shirt on. My cousin, who's a law enforcement officer, had the shirt on. My other little cousin, she has the shirt on, but she wants to be like a doctor or a veterinarian, which she's smart for doing that. But like we all wear the uniform when we're like little babies, so it's pretty cool. It's like you just grow up around cops. Mom and dad, both cops.
We got the picture queued up if you guys are ready.
Yeah, we're ready.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
There you
yes.
go.
Look at the Jerry curl.
Yep, the little blowout.
Oh, yeah, you had the blowout. You look like you're straight out. Look at about 80 pounds.
Yeah, I was heading into high school there. I was like 120
You
pounds.
definitely look like you were in band.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with being in band.
Everybody take that in. Take it in. What a photo.
We can look at the other ones here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a little background on these.
Yeah, there's a little background on these. You want to?
Yeah, that's my dad on the left. That's my mom on the right. Well, from where I'm facing, yeah, that's their police academy graduations. So yeah, my dad was in the 80s and my mom was in the early 90s.
Your dad looks beefed up. I mean, what happened to you?
I did jujitsu.
He
My dad was in the Marines. He
Yeah,
was a lifelong martial artist too. He does like Kyokushin karate. He's a 3rd degree black belt in that. He does a little jujitsu. Yeah.
just dabbles.
There's
Tony's class, and that's kind of where Ruben and I got a chance to spend some time together really close and chat a bit, and we even took an airport ride and had some lunch together and talked a lot about kind of what I was doing here, and it's kind of started being born out of the idea to start talking about some of this stuff and really starting to see in Tony's classes the rise of Jiu-Jitsu. And there's a fun one of you doing the Burt Reynolds pose over there, covered in a bearskin. No, he's wearing his gi, laying on the mat, just chilling out. And that shows a lot of your personality. I mean, you talked a lot about smiling, and you want to touch on that?
yeah.
Talk about competition and stuff.
Yeah,
Mindset.
competition. I have this coach, Eric Parker from Intensity, and guy's done everything, very successful person, but great human being. And he has Intensity, and he talks about, like, man, you'll be in the match, or you'll be warming up for the match, and you'll see stare downs where, like, the guy's, like, mean mugging you, has, like, that grinny face. And he's like, have you ever had that done while you're, like, getting ready for a competition? I'm like, all the time, dude. These guys mean mug me, and I bat them no mind. I just look at them and get ready. He's like, yeah, you should smile at them. I'm like, smile? Why am I going to smile at somebody that wants to potentially rip my head off, take my limbs away from me? He's like, because it shows confidence. Like, you're there to have fun. They're there. They're so into it. And then you look at them and you smile. They're like, oh, crap, that guy's crazy. He wants to, you want to hurt him, but he's smiling at the fact that you want to hurt him. And yeah, it was just awesome. And I use it in everyday things. Like I was telling him earlier before the podcast, like I take all these pictures smiling because everybody's like, oh man, you look like doing the Tony Seminar courses and doing these competitions. You look like intimidating. I'm like, no, I actually don't want to hurt nobody. Fun guy to be around with. I like to hope so.
And we talked about that. You carry, being a black belt and having that type of ability, like I said, you become a subject matter expert, right? So essentially, you I don't want to use corny terms, but you can handle yourself on a level a cut above anybody else. It's a certain amount of power you carry around with you, and to carry it with such grace and with such, honestly reverence, like just kind of like you're easy going about it. You're not like, hey, fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you up. You have a cool. Is that something that's taught to you, or it's just something that you guys look for in a good student, or where does that come in?
I think it's just personality. You have guys that are black belts in jiu-jitsu that are real assholes, and then you have guys that are real nice and humble, and then you have some of the guys that are fake humble where they pretend they're humble, but in real life they're douchebags.
Douche.
You know, they're like humble on camera, but outside of the camera, outside of their Instagram, they're like super like.
I'm seeing some parallels here, man, to the gun industry.
Oh no, the gun industry has them. I've
Oh,
already
my
seen
God,
it. I'm
sure.
brand new to the gun industry, and
Well, we're gonna go there.
you know, I already see it, like how dudes portray themselves on social media and stuff, and I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
oh god.
So, you know, to kind of bring the jiu-jitsu thing, so you just recently went to the Gracie Academy. You know, I know you can't get deep into the trade secrets and things like that, but what was that experience like, kind of bringing it full circle and being able to participate right in the academy, starting to call that home and train with those guys and have the opportunity to get certified? You know, that's going to be amazing because that's the equivalent of, that's the White House, right? I mean, that's like you're going to the Mecca, right? So how does that hit you? And are you invited? Is it like invitation only? Could I get invited? Is that like a top secret thing? I mean,
No,
can I
you
sneak
could-
in?
You could come out to it. You're in law enforcement. They have this course called the GST, Gracie Survival Tactics. It's all for first responders, military, police, you know, all that stuff. And I was invited by Henry Gracie, who's the grandson of Elio Gracie, the son of Horian Gracie, you know, the Gracie family. And yeah, there was a viral video that went out with me involved, and I got invited by Henner, and I went out for a week with one of my close buddies, and we went out there and got certified in the GST Level 1 course. And I met officers from various agencies, federal, municipalities, reserve cops. They're just everybody that wants to learn the basics of jiu-jitsu that'll help them survive in the job. And going there to train was mind-blowing because I went in there with the white belt mentality, like trying to soak up everything. And usually you don't see a lot of like black belts and stuff going out to other courses by other instructors. That's like in the gun industry.
Yeah, we see that. Yep.
If you have like another instructor that owns a company, go to Tony's course, or you know, vice versa, or
Man,
something
I'd
like
love
that.
to see more of that. That'd be
you know,
great.
you
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
see
that's a
that
whole
enough.
nother topic we're going to get to,
But yeah, I went there and I wanted to learn the system to bring back, you know, to help teach, you know, and what I liked about it is that they showed you how to teach the curriculum. They help you out. The instructors there were amazing. I had Henner, I had Hiron Gracie, I had this guy named Evandro Nunez, who's a black boner of the Gracies, and this other guy named Alex, who's a black boner of the Gracies. And they were all just fantastic instructors, like super positive, upbeat. I never heard one negative comment throughout the course, you know.
It's amazing.
It was a great class, and there was 100 first responders there, like 100, just so eager to
Where was
learn.
the class at?
In Torrance, California, at the Gracie University.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, now it's the Gracie University. Probably one of the nicest academies I've ever been to. And what's funny is, like, I get off the mats to go take a bathroom break. I walk in, I see Vince Vaughn getting ready for his class. I'm like, you look like Vince Vaughn. He's like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm about to go train. I was like, all right, man. Have a
He's
good
like,
session.
I hear that a lot.
I am
You know?
Vince Vaughn.
I am Vince Vaughn. No, but I made eye contact with Vince Vaughn real quick as I was walking to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, hey, man, have a good training session. And what's cool about jiu-jitsu is that, like, you see all these, like, actors and stuff, and at least for me, I look at them just as, like, another jiu-jitsu brother. So I'm not there, like, trying to, hey, oh, my God, I got so many questions to ask you about your movies and stuff. And I was just like, hey, man, have a good session. Go to the bathroom.
And I know you've rubbed elbows and trained with a couple of those guys. Who's one of the more exciting ones, or one you can talk about without, you know, I know you don't want to divulge who you train with and whatnot, but you know, give us a little sample. I know you mentioned one particular Caped Crusader.
Oh, yeah, I trained with Henry Cavill one time, a few times, actually, I think twice, at the Renzo Gracie Western Academy. Super humble guy. He's a white belt under Roger Gracie, I believe, but super, super humble.
He's also the Man of Steel. So.
Yeah, for
Man.
those of you that don't know, he is
Well,
Superman.
Not
He was
not
the Man of
anymore.
Steel.
He was Superman.
That's a rumor, isn't it? Is that
No, that's
confirmed?
Supposedly
confirmed.
it's
Yeah.
like confirmed.
That stinks. He was a good
Sucks. Yeah,
Superman.
he was probably
He
one of
was.
the best, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you get this chance to kind of roll with Superman. Mm-hmm. You like, I have to let him win?
No.
Hell no, dude. You gotta beat Superman.
You got to beat Superman?
No.
Did you have some kryptonite in your pockets?
No. I didn't have to beat him up. My job is, as a black belt and him as a white belt, is for him to learn, you know, the basics, how to understand body mechanics, body movement. I have no ego where I have to beat up Superman to prove a point. You know, just by holding you down on the ground for 30 seconds and you expelled all your energy and I did not have to submit you.
Did he tap out?
No, we did positional stuff.
This guy's the worst guest ever, not talking shit or anything. This is
Yeah.
terrible.
Did he give you the cape after? Did you get to try the cape on?
No, I didn't get to
Did you try the cape on and nothing else? Did
What
you just
about
put the boots on?
Yeah.
No,
None of that.
I wish
All
I
right.
could.
Was he really strong?
Yeah,
Yeah, he looks like a strong guy.
holy crap.
For sure.
He was strong.
Who's stronger, him or me?
Dude,
Am I
do I
stronger
have to
than
answer
Superman?
that?
Yes. Yes, you have to.
So,
We have to know.
He's the man of steel, bro.
bro, so that's amazing stuff, man. I mean, like, honestly, I'm kind of, anytime we get an SME in the building, and I don't mean, you know, we're having some fun with it, but I know Ruben takes his craft seriously, and this is something that's near and dear to his heart. So you get through this, you get into law enforcement, and now, you know, I want you to touch on one thing before we come back to the firearms business and things like that and Falcor. Where do you begin? Because I'm seeing it, the rise of jujitsu and law enforcement as a derivative of defensive tactics. Because we all know the academy, those of us that have been through it, the academy, the DT. I don't want to use the term joke, but it's kind of like, you know, you're not getting any high-level DT training. At what point do you pinpoint the time and space where this rise begins to occur?
I think what happens is that evolution is always constant, and some people are scared to change. You know, like you still have like the old school guys that have been cops since the 80s doing like when they're shooting pistol, they're wrapping their thumb around their thumb or doing like things that are not modified that are with today's times.
They call that institutional inbreeding.
And what I think it is the same thing with DT and law enforcement. They're still stuck on the 80s. They still think that Steven Seagal stuff works and Chuck Norris high kicks work, you know, and that, you know, not everybody's watching the UFC now. You know, I've had a
Mel
subject.
practices high kicks.
You know,
She's practicing them now.
yeah. But yeah, nobody sees that you need to change with the times.
Or evolve.
Yeah,
is
you
probably
had
what,
made
know.
some really good points when we were talking yesterday about the fact about how, and this is preaching the virtues of training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but how in most street fights, when you close the distance and clinch someone up, most people don't know what to do, and that fact that you have the training gives you such a great advantage over that. Can you give more insight on that and why it's so good as a defensive type of tool?
What I like about jiu-jitsu is I can immobilize somebody without even hurting them. I could beat them up without beating them up.
Yeah.
You know, rather than, especially in law enforcement, you're always getting recorded, you know, and stuff like that. You want to make sure that the suspect's safe as well as you, as bad as that sounds, you know. Like, I want everybody to be safe. I'm a peace officer. I'm supposed to keep the peace. So if I punch somebody, boom, I might break his nose. I might break my hand. We're both screwed. Rather than if I take him down, I hold him, I let him expel all his energy. And he's there tired, but he's physically okay. He's just tired.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm on top. I'm okay. You know, because, yeah, of course, sometimes you're going to have to crack somebody. But if you could avoid injury for yourself and others,
It makes it extremely useful.
who's winning?
Yeah.
You know, we're both winning. At the end of the day, he goes home safe, I go home safe. Jiu-jitsu wins. You know,
So, before we get to the viral video and everything else, I want to ask you a very serious question. What does training mean to you? And we'll get to Tony's class and all that. We'll stem into that. But what does training, not just as it pertains to law enforcement, but the training mindset, mean to you?
training for me is everything. You know, you got to love it. You got to love training. Even when you hate it, you still got to love it. And when you lack motivation, you have to rely on discipline. You know, like we were talking about with Jocko Willink and stuff like that. I've always been set on training. My days off is when I train the most. I don't go out partying. It's just not me. You know, other people like that. And hey, if you like that, whatever makes you happy, do what you do. For me, training makes me happy. Signing up for courses, you know, because I always learn something new each session. You know, like today I did a shoulder workout with him. I don't do shoulder workouts and lift weights and stuff like that.
You do today.
And I was learning. He was showing me. He's like, it's not always about using heavy weights. It's about, you know, focusing on what you want to strengthen. And I was like, oh, I just learned something there. You know, so training for me is everything. On my days off, I'm always training. If you go on my IG, you always see I'm training. So
It's something we've always taken seriously here at Falcor. I mean, right all the way to the top down. I was joking with Melinda before it started, but Melinda's been out to Tony's class. Jason's taken Tony's class, and Tony touched on that, and this is a good time to start to get into that. These are owners that are not afraid to get out there and say, I want to try this. I may suck, but I want to try it. And it's the same with me. I've always been of the same mindset. I went out and I let you throw me around, and we'll get to the beating I took. But, you know, I'm willing to put myself out there to say, let me immerse myself in this world, because training at Falcor and training, you know, for this company, we have, you know, guys on the floor that take jujitsu. We have myself, of course, Jason, and even in pockets, Derek trains quite a bit. We all try to get, you know, on the regular involved in training. And I know Melinda's done hunts that I could never do, you know, backcountry hunts, things like that. It's something here that's always been ingrained in the soil of Falcor to get out and train and participate and understand that we don't just make firearms here. We're making firearms with a purpose, and we're doing things with a purpose. That's why getting behind things like Tony's course and participating in that was something that was near and dear to our heart, to get out there with the Leos. And Jason had the opportunity to come out there, and it's a powerful statement, right? When he gets up there with Eric Navarro from Breakthrough, and they say, we've taken this course, we've trained here. And I think you don't see enough of that. And coming to Sam's point, the humbling that people sometimes aren't willing to endure to learn and to get better. And in the firearms business, we see tons of that. Everybody's this, you know, internet guru. Everybody's this self-made guru. Well, I read a book or I watched a video. I got more pieces of paper than I know what to do with. I have a binder. Sam's gone through it.
Same.
I got more slips and things that say I know something. I walk in every room trying to, you know, say, you know, I don't know anything. But I'm always want to throw myself in the mix. And I think that's a little lost today, don't you think?
Oh yeah, 100%, because everybody feels entitled now. You know, there's like I guess lately everybody feels a certain sense of entitlement, you know, and that they have to be somebody when you could just be you, you know. And we were talking about this in the car yesterday, and I see this a lot over and over and over again, like guys Monday morning quarterbacking, you know, like, oh, you know, when you're in a stressful environment and you're shooting, well, have you ever pointed a gun at somebody? Do you know what it's like? Do you know what goes in the mindset of having to point a gun at somebody and potentially taking a life away, or being in a fight on the street? You know, it's gun industry and martial arts are basically the same thing. You have these like self-defense experts that tell you, well, if you get in this and this, yeah, but do you think about the civil liability that happens after it? You know, do you know what injuries you could potentially cause?
You can not only break someone's arm, but tear their tendons out and all that kind of stuff with your doing joint
does it meet
manipulations
the
and stuff.
criteria for me to break his arm? Do I have to break his arm? And this is one thing that at the Grace University that I loved. They stand up and they're like, look, guys, we're not cops. We don't know what you guys go through. We've trained with cops. We've gone on ride-alongs. We've done this and that. But we still don't know what it's like to wake up every day, put on a badge and a gun.
Yeah.
But we'll give you guys resources, and if we can't find the resources for it, we'll look for it, you know. And what I liked about them is they're like, when you're in an arm bar, I have your arm fully extended. I'm not bridging to break it yet. But they talked about de-escalating it. Like, okay, guy, I have your arm here. I don't want to break it. Are you going to stop fighting me and let me just put you in cuffs? You know, because most of the times that you see when people resist cops is, you know, the cops forcing them when they're in an advantageous position, and instead of just talking with the guy, hey, bro, I got your arm, dude. I don't want to break it, but if I have to, I will. Are you gonna like stop tensing up so I can put the cuffs on you? They don't take the time to do that. A lot of guys are like, I gotta fight. You know, rather than just sitting there and being like, hey, bro, do you want to keep fighting or do you not want to keep fighting? What are we gonna do? You know?
I agree with everything you're saying, and like we said, I think some of that humility or willingness to learn gets lost in translation because of the entitledness and because of folks'
ego
and things like that. And I think, you know, we see a lot of that in every industry to an extent. But I feel like, you know, here we always try to have those moments where like we all kind of walk around where I'm like, I'm no better than you. I can learn. I can humble myself. I'm willing to get in there. I'm willing to, maybe I haven't shot pistol enough. I can learn more pistol. I haven't shot long range enough. I admit every day I have not honed enough of my mat skills or jujitsu skills or defensive tactics skills. I want to get better at that. Of course, I'm going to look like a schlep at all times against a black belt, but I have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be
100%.
willing to say, hey, let me learn some things. And maybe born out of that is me going out and getting a membership and immersing myself into it and saying,
Maybe
let me
John
learn.
and I are going to start training more.
Maybe.
Because there's a really great gym here in the Flathead Valley.
Yeah. So I think it's really something, it's sad, and it makes me sad because I think across the internet, whether it's you come across these IG personalities and all these different people, and I know you have some experience with the internet, and we'll get into the lives and things like that, the viral stuff. But I think, there's too much embedded in both cultures where everybody's a pro. And I tell my team this before we go to SHOT Show and before we go to events. My last warning to them is this. I say, guys, when you meet with people at SHOT Show or you meet with people at shows, I always say this, and it'll make sense when I say it, Sam will understand. I always say, everybody's somebody, just ask them. So when people approach you and they want to talk to you about a rifle, they'll talk, just, approach it with a humility. I know you're the expert on our stuff. You're meant to be. But they're going to tell you just how great they are and how important they are and how they have 17 Ranger Tab ninja swords on their vest and they're somebody and, okay, cool. You have to kind of take it in with a grain of salt. But I think a lot of humility is lost. And I think, social media has a little bit to do with that. And, and I'll throw it to you before we get to the video and everything else. What do you think of social media in general as a tool and as a platform?
I think if you have the right mindset for social media, it's great. A lot of people post their false ideologies. They think they know everything, and nobody knows everything. If somebody knew everything on everything, then we wouldn't be having podcasts and stuff like that on getting different ideas and ideologies. So. Yeah, there's guys that are legit, and they post their stuff, and they post great content, that helps people, and then you got guys that haven't really done much, and they think they're how you said, everybody's a somebody,
Just ask them.
Just ask them. Like we were talking about, everybody's gone through their difficult past to get where they're at now. Everybody hasn't had the easy road.
Absolutely.
So
I feel like
everybody has their own adversity.
Everybody has a journey, and I was explaining that to one of the team members the other day. He's been born and bred in our facility, and I said, you need to understand, you need to start to respect everybody's journey. Everybody's been through something. And if you don't respect everybody's journey and whatever it is that they've endured, people made choices for certain reasons in life, and they got to where they are for different reasons, good, bad, and ugly. And I think that folks have a misunderstanding of what is really involved in that and what makes sense. So we're getting a lot of good questions on YouTube, actually.
Yeah, actually,
so to read a few of them straight down, I don't want to neglect these to you guys on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Keep the questions coming. I got one that says, "What up, guys? Hi, guys. Ruben is the man. Excellent representation of jiu-jitsu and a perfect candidate to be a Leo."
Oh, that's Grappling Central podcast.
Okay.
That's another podcast for grapplers. He always brings in different guys in the sport, like wrestlers, MMA fighters. Yeah, it's my boy Ryan, great guy.
Well, Ryan at Grappling Central, thank you for the good feedback.
Check out their show if you want to learn more about jiu-jitsu.
And then we have another one that's a question. I've had 4 knee surgeries. Would jiu-jitsu be something I could do?
Yeah, 100%. Jiu-jitsu is about implementing your own style. What works for you, what doesn't work for you. It's like you said, be water, my friend.
Be like water.
Be water.
Bruce Lee with Jeet Kune Do, it's, take whatever's useful for you, disregard whatever's not useful for you.
And and there is a funny story to that. When we were on the range, one of the things that brought Ruben and I closer, I think you were running out to do a drill, and I was RSOing, and I just kind of looked over, and I said this to someone. It wasn't at you. I said it to someone else when they were asking a question about how to move through the training, and I just said, "Be like water, my friend. Be like water." And Ruben just looked over from the distance, and it was like.
Gave him the martial art nod.
Yeah,
I was
he
like, all
gave
right,
him the
thanks, Bruce Lee.
Yeah, and I think from then on we were hooked, and that was the beginning of a lovely friendship. And then, I think that speaks to everything we're talking about. I think What I'd love to see, in social media is more people be like water. What do you think, Ruben?
Oh, I think so too.
Flow.
Yeah, I think more guys should be like more positive about things. Not like really put down other things. Just like I was telling Henner, I didn't really agree with his breakdowns that he used to do. And then after getting his perception on the breakdowns, I was like, oh, okay, you're coming from a good place. I thought it was just like a marketing scheme or something. Mm-hmm. And he told me why he really does the breakdowns. He really cares for law enforcement. And I was like, oh, okay. Because at first, like, you showed me a Gracie breakdown. I was like, dude, this guy's just talking about, like, what cops do wrong. And I'm getting sick of it, And then...
But he's doing it from a place of
does
support
it from
and appreciation.
Exactly. And I didn't know that. So that was my bad for not knowing that.
Would you say there is, like, a culture of controversy within that community of who trains where, with who, or who knows what, or whatever? Because there's a lot of that in the gun industry as well. So I'm. Talk a little bit about that if you could, or your opinions on it at least.
Another thing that I see is like, guys won't own up when they're wrong. You just have to own up. Just all right. You know what? You're right. People don't. Not all people. Like I know a lot of guys that are like, hey, I was wrong. Let's work on fixing that. I met a lot of guys like John, I was like, I don't see it like this, dude. Maybe this way, but you could be right. Let's figure it out. And, he ended up being right. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, those cultures exist in all sports and in all things. Just to kind of give people some more insight into you, who are some of the guys you like to follow, whether it's in the firearms industry or in the MMA community? Who do you like to watch? Who do you pay attention to? Who motivates you? Who gets you out of bed? And who do you watch? Because I know for me, I'm an early morning guy, similar to Jason. Like I'm like 4:30 in the morning. I'm flying a million miles an hour. I like to get in the gym. I like to tackle everything before the problems of the day catch up to me. And I know that drives some people fucking nuts, Melinda being one of them. But it's one of those things that I just kind of like, you almost have to say, and I know Jay said, it's kind of like, this is my thing. Give me like from 4:30 in the morning.
At 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, give me like from 4:30 in the morning to like 8 a.m. It's my thing. Don't come near me till I have that third cup of coffee, but I need that 3-hour window. And to his point, and his credit, he's a lot like me in the sense that he's not bothering anybody. There's no malice. It's just he's trying to just get it done and get it in. So, I know we look at guys that motivate us to push ourselves because we find the time, and that's kind of something. Day management and time is everything to us. So who motivates you and what gets you to that special place and what gets you, on the mats and keeps you motivated? Who do you follow?
The first one's my instructor, Tom DeBlas. He's a very, very motivational figure in jiu-jitsu. Great black belt. I'm happy to be one of his black belts. As soon as the whole viral thing went out, he was one of the first to contact me to see how I was doing. And he's a very good motivational speaker. Another one's like Jocko Willink, talking about that 4:30 in the morning. You don't want to get up, but you need to have the discipline to do it. When you don't have motivation, you have to rely on discipline. He's a very big one that I like to follow.
Dang it. He's right.
It's true.
I hate the dude. I'm not a morning person.
I'm not a morning person either, as you could tell from his story of him waking me up, knocking on the door with the Terminator beat, sneaking up on a ninja is what he likes to call it.
Well, I want to just prove to everybody that ninjas sleep.
Another motivator for me is like Tony. Tony's always pushing his limits. When I first saw Tony, I was like, oh man, look at this like Cuban dude lifting all these weights and then shooting. This guy's crazy. Can't do that. And I ended up getting to know Tony. He's like one of the coolest guys ever. I got a lot of motivators, jiu-jitsu aspects, my best friend Diego, who's a SWAT operator. He's a very good motivator for me. Another guy for me is my boy Larry, who's on BSO SWAT. Another great motivator. So I got all these guys around me that I keep around that motivate me. My students that I have, all my training partners,
How important is your circle?
It's important. You show me your friends, and I show you who you are.
Amen.
Oh, wow, that was like, hold on, can you say that again, real quick?
How important is your circle?
Show me your friends, and I show you who you are. That's Matt Serra. He's
asking the hard-hitting questions.
Asking the hard-hitting questions. I do have an interesting question from Facebook. If you want to go with that one, real quick.
Yeah, sure.
All right, this one comes from Edgar. Asks, "Hey Ruben, did the fake black belt guy ever take you up on your offer to come out and train as a white belt?"
No, but I've talked to him multiple times. Yeah, that's
A little background on that story, please.
Yeah, so I went first viral video I had was me calling out a fake black belt that came to my academy and trained with us for a week, wearing a fake black belt. It's
Oh man,
something I'm not proud of. I was younger back then. Like I called him out on it.
stolen valor.
Yeah,
Stolen
exactly,
valor.
stolen valor. And it, when you're passionate about something, it's like me walking up to you and saying like, "Hey, bro, I was a Marine, Semper Fi."
The fuck you were.
Yeah, and you're like, "All right, what was your MOS?" All this stuff, and then I'm like, you're gonna want to kick my teeth in because you went through boot camp, you put in the time.
I wouldn't want to kick your teeth in. I'd just be like, you're an idiot. Stop.
But like, it upsets you. It's like,
Yeah, no, I get it. 100%.
yeah. So I had that whole thing, and then I still talk to the guy. The guy and I are cool. You know?
Cool.
And he learned his lesson. He's not going around wearing a fake black belt.
He'll never buy a black belt again, whether it's in J.C. Penney or T.J. Maxx. He'll never.
Sees it and he gets triggered. He's like,
Yeah, everything's brown or something else. He's dyeing his belts now.
Yep.
So that stems into another area. We all deal with haters. We all deal with people that accuse anytime you reach a certain level, whether it's black belt. I deal with it in this business.
somebody using an
Oh
Instagram
my
account
God.
with your name on it.
It's just like, everybody wants to say something, right? It's like, oh, he doesn't deserve this. I'm going to take it away from him. And I think we all process that in different ways. How do you I just ignore it. I don't feed haters. The truth of the matter is I don't care. Sam knows my stance on it.
You don't not care. You love them.
I love them. I love the haters. They fuel me. And I think I've even watched, certain people around this office even mature with the haters. It's kind of like, just like, whatever, man. Like, I'm over here doing my thing. Like, just go fuck yourself. Yeah,
the whole thing is like, is what I'm doing hurting you? No, then why do you care so much?
Because I think, people see whether it's a successful woman, whether it's a successful dude, they just want to back you into a corner and say, they suck. Yeah. Is the short of it. But there's always a shred of professional jealousy and everything else. How do you deal with the haters, and what are the haters like in your community?
All right, I'm going to take it back to what we talked about earlier. So remember how I told you my buddy Eric Parker started 110 and he talks about the people meme mugging you, right? And like when I was younger, people would meme mug me and I just look at them right back, meme mug them. And now when they meme mug me, I smile at them, right? Same thing, Are you going to let them keep meme mugging you and you're going to meme mug them back? Or are you just going to smile at them and just let it go, and own the fight, So when I get haters, they're just talking. They haven't done anything. Unless if I go right here, I'm like, all right, this is what you want? Let's go get it. Yeah. You want to come get it?
You feel like social media fuels that a little bit too? Because they feel like they can talk behind a wall with no consequences?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like yesterday, we went live for him to give away some stuff, and some guy put Bartolo eats booty or something as like his IG handle. And I'm like, we're smiling. We're
that's
smiling
true,
at it.
It's so stupid.
And
the thing is,
him,
that's true. So.
I told him, you should be happy. You have a grown man putting your last name as his IG handle. That's like a chick with a lower back tattoo with your name on it.
You've achieved something.
One step closer to the blue check mark.
If somebody hates on you, that means you're doing something right in life.
Oh, sure.
That means that you believe in an ideology. If everybody likes you, that means you don't stand for anything.
Right. I agree with that. 100%.
Like if you go around pleasing everybody, that means you're not happy with yourself. Now if you got haters on you, you're doing something right.
Sam knows my stance, and this is what I say, whether it's as a CEO or anything. I say this to everybody. If I have a hater out there, feel free to ask them. Have you met John face to face? Do you know him?
Nope.
Have you had an interaction with him where you've talked to him face to face? 9 out of 10 times, Sam, what's the answer?
No.
No, but I just hate him. Or no, I just don't like him. Or no, I think he sucks.
Yeah.
I think that's just more of the same we see across all industries. So we're covering so much, but I want to get back to a few things. So we coming back to Tony's class, we had the chance to train, we had the chance to mix it up. how do you feel about firearms training in the 2A community and kind of where that's going and that evolution? And I know Tony represents a lot of that evolution, and I know Jiu-Jitsu plays into that evolution. And we're seeing more and more of guys teaching, and from a positive standpoint, we see guys teaching the striking, and even like when Mel was out there training, her and Jason, she's out there striking and she's hitting the bags, and we're seeing a lot of that come into play. What do you see good things coming down the pike for the marriage of jiu-jitsu and MMA and all that and into firearms and that incorporation?
Yeah, I see it coming in a lot. Like with Tony's course, it opened a lot of like the law enforcement guys' eyes because they thought they were just gonna be shooting the whole time. They didn't know they were gonna be fighting.
Oh yeah.
And the problem that I see with law enforcement now is that we're so fixated on training with firearms that we're not training enough with non-lethal things like defensive tactics, especially when you're gonna use defensive tactics more than your firearm. Almost every day I'm going hands-on at work, and I don't think they focus enough on that. They're so focused on like, let's get your shooting up to par, blah, blah, blah. You also have to get your defensive tactics up to par too, because you're going to be going hands-on. And every call you go to, a gun is going to be induced in the situation because it's going to be your own gun. So with Tony's course, and there's other guys that do the same thing, like a sheepdog response, like I told you with Tim Kennedy.
Yep.
He shows like his combatives along with, shooting and all that stuff and the CQB. Tony's the only one that I've seen where, he implements everything: fitness, grappling, striking, shooting, everything all into one course that you come out learning something. And then you also have that mindset too, dang, I don't know enough. Maybe I should train more.
You definitely learn where your limit is. And the thing I explain to everybody about training with somebody, and I don't want to just make it about Tony, even though, that's a common ground we share. If you train with somebody who's a high intensity guy who's going to push your limits, you learn about where your limit is. I think I can speak for everybody who's been in and out of this room, Jason, Melinda, myself, you that have trained with him. You definitely learned where your limit was. Like, okay, I feel really comfortable here. When I got to here, like at a 7, when I got to 8, 9, and 10, I was gassed. Like I didn't have anything left to give. I know I need to improve on X, Y, and Z. So I feel like, you're definitely going to walk away and know where your breaking points are and what you have to improve upon. You go home with a lot of homework, and it's what you do with that. I tell people all the time, forget about the training. You're going to leave it all out there, right? It's a fair statement. You're going to leave it all out there. You're going to be tired. You're going to be beat up. You were definitely beat up because you were grappling with everybody doing a million things.
Doing the course and also helping out.
And it's a 3-day course. It's very intense. And you leave there, it's what you do after. It's how you train after. Yeah, I train hard in the gym. I train a lot of functional now. You see a lot of that. I have a certain amount of intensity in certain areas, and I try to perfect my craft just from the standpoint of I want to get better. But I don't think enough guys take homework home. What do you think of some of the IG self-taught instructors out there, or the training scars being put out there in the community?
You can always learn something from them, but you learn something positive, you can learn something negative. You're learning either way. I think for me, my preference is everything that I teach has been battle tested, used and
proven
in real time, real life application, just like Tony. That's why he calls it real world tactical, because he's actually used all the stuff that he's taught us, And I think if you have it, and it also gives you a certain sense of confidence too. Like, I don't have to show you why my technique's effective. You already know it's effective. I don't have to explain why it's so effective. You've already seen it.
On the internet. I mean, there's literally a video of it happening in real life.
And I don't go around like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about, because I always learn, But yeah, I see all these guys that are self-taught. You got to get some accreditation behind what you're speaking about.
I use a term Dom Rasso taught me to really fully understand. It's not his term. It's just I fully understood it after talking with him. Find subject matter experts, bona fide subject matter experts, and train with them. When I wanted to train with weights, I found Branch Warren. You're not going to find a better person when it comes to weightlifting than Branch Warren. I mean, yeah, you can make a case for certain guys, but there's no argument whatsoever that he's an SME, right? When I wanted to spend a couple days doing some jiu-jitsu and training, I found a black belt. And I wanted to spend some time with a black belt to understand that craft and understand that side of it. When I wanted to train, at a SWAT type level to get a sampling, it's fair to say Tony's courses give you that, right? Hard hitting. So, I think it's just about, I tell people this all the time, find SMEs, target SMEs. You want to get good at something, you have to find somebody who is a subject matter expert. And it has to be something that's bona fide in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through years of experience or whether it's through certifications or pieces of paper or belts or whatever you want to call it.
Can someone become a subject matter expert, in your opinion, both you guys, without real-world experience of some sort?
It's kind of hard,
Like if you don't actually
It's a great question, Sam.
If you don't, I asked the hard-hitting
No,
questions.
I'll answer it and then I'll throw it to Ruben and let him chew on it because it's obviously something we talk about a lot. I think this. I think anybody can become a subject matter expert as long as you're willing to put yourself out there. For example, can you be a subject matter expert and teach shooting and shooting skills without having been in a shootout? Yes, you can.
Sure.
For the simple fact that you hope that never happens, right? You go through life. We don't control that. I can't walk around and say, hey, Haley, point a gun at me just so I can be legit, right? But is your situational awareness and your understanding of situational awareness a lot better if you worked, and I think Ruben will agree with this, if you worked one shift on duty, one shift, you will walk away with so much situational awareness. I don't care if you worked at the local county fair. I don't care if you walked the street. The minute you put that uniform and badge on, you will go into a whole different mindset because I know I can say this for law enforcement, cops get killed in a frickin' Starbucks sitting down having coffee. And you know that, and that's burned into your brain. So your situational awareness goes up to a level that I would feel safe saying that a civvy would never fully understand, or someone who's never had to put a uniform on or put themselves in that harm's way. So there's a certain tactical inclination or skill set that goes up to a certain level. But does that mean you have to be that? Well, I will say you don't have to, but I would think as a student, you're going to run to the level where you're going to say, okay, this 3-gun expert, for example, to draw a parallel, has taught me all I can learn about shooting a gun, right? Now I want to learn from someone who can teach me about how to process that information a lot quicker and understand and transfer it to survivability. I'll throw it to Ruben and get his thoughts, but I think you can be to an extent, but it's all about the student understanding the teacher.
Yeah, I agree with what John's saying. Another thing too is like you see guys like let me think on social media, like T-Rex Arms. That kid could shoot. He could shoot, and he does all these videos where he's, doing a bunch of stuff, and yeah, he's doing all this and that, and he doesn't have like real life application. I don't think he's ever pointed a gun at somebody, or maybe he has, and I just don't know about it. Like I'm saying, I'm using him as an example. But the kid can shoot. He's on Instagram posting these videos, and I learned a lot watching his videos. But has he been, like... Tested. Like, have you ever had to point a gun at somebody? Like speaking of which, like, what you, me, and Tony were talking about that time that we talk about how when you present your firearm and then you bring it back in, and a lot of guys do these scan and assess, it's their preference. They like doing that. I've never had to scan and assess. I get tunnel vision, and I don't break it till the guy's in handcuffs. I've pointed my gun at somebody, and you're also having this thing of, oh my God, like what's going on? Like what am I gonna do? You think of the afterthoughts that is it gonna be a good shoot? Is it gonna be a bad shoot if I have to shoot?
The repercussion.
You start thinking of things like this in your head, and people can't teach that unless they've been through that. Like Tony talks about all the time. He's like, I've never scanned after. My eyes are fixated on the threat.
Well, it's like I brought up the other day, and I'll put it out there. It's no mystery. This is my take on it. This is John Bartolo's take. Bring me a shoot fast guy on here, okay? And I'll bring Max on. Max will talk about it. I'll bring Max Michelle on. He'll gladly discuss it. Bring me a shoot fast guy, and I want him to articulate to me where it's going to be a good shoot, that he's going to draw from a holster in sub 1 second and shoot somebody. Okay, so the only argument you can make is Ruben has a gun pointed at me right now, and I'm going to draw faster than he can pull the trigger. I'd argue that that's reckless and unsafe. I'd be like, here's my wallet. Goodbye. Have a good day. Thank you. But if I draw down and I shoot Austin right now, it's not a good shoot. Even though I did it in sub 1 second, what does that prove? What does that matter? So there's a lot of guys out there that are like, oh, I can draw a gun and, point to, like Tony says, I don't use timers. And I'm not a shoot fast guy. So there's a lot of guys out there that they call it do it for the gram. They do a lot of that stuff for the gram. You see them draw from the holster. But to your point, in a police situation or when you have to articulate that, I'll take it a step further like I did with you, Ruben, the other day. The DA is standing right here. The jury is standing right there, and the judge is standing right there. Explain to me a good shoot, and you're a shoot fast guy, where you drew down and used the speed to kill someone standing right in front of you that's trying to take your wallet. Explain it to me. Okay.
You have to articulate it.
You have to articulate it.
Like, why was your life in so much fear that you had to draw in 0.1 seconds?
Not just draw. You know what the DA is going to say. Draw and extinguish someone's life.
Yeah.
They're going to put it in a way, and you have the person's family there, everything crying tears. Oh, it was like my little nephew, Billy, and he was just saying, hey, can I see your wallet? Explain to me.
John, yesterday we were talking about the legality of that, right? Like of you versus him with his training, right? So like, you were talking about how like if you were to do something like that, you'd be cuffed for it, right? Or he could probably explain that he was.
He could articulate.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So,
and we were talking about that a little bit where, there's two sides to that coin. People can argue, well, Ruben's a black belt and he has a certain skill set and he shouldn't use or abuse those skills. He could articulate it the other way as well and say, well, I know the level of threat and I know how to manage that pain that I'm inflicting on someone properly because of my skill level. So there's a lot of ways to articulate things, and I'm not completely downing shoot fast guys. I'm just asking them to articulate it to your point. I'm asking for I want to understand it. Explain to me. What I'd rather see guys doing is starting to understand situational awareness and understand the situation. And to your point, you're going to go hands-on before. Chances are most shooting incidents are going to start with some level of hands-on.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there's going to be some level of hands-on. That hands-on may even include looking for cover. You might be looking for cover. You may be pulling up to a call.
Or even fighting for your own weapon.
Or fighting for your own weapon.
And that's why I'm very big on, you need to train both aspects.
Yep.
Especially in law enforcement. Like they said in the academy when we graduated, this day is your day. Well, the next day that you go on patrol, it's the community's day. It's for the community. So you have to be training to be better not only for yourself, but for the community.
So we're getting a few more things on YouTube I want to kind of hit. Daryl says, I love this channel. I'm new here. I appreciate what you guys bring. Jen the other day and now Ruben. Falcor is very inspirational and not crazy hate rhetoric. I'm solid on Falcor. We're going to get to Falcor with you. The first rifle I buy will be a Falcor. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that, of course. Is there any other rifle? Would love to get that Petra 300 Win Mag one day. Matt, save your pennies. We'll put you on a plan. Call in and ask for Jacob in the sales room, and we will put you on a payment plan just for saying that. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. We'll get you some kind of special YouTube discount. If you're serious, Matt, call in and we'll make it work.
We do have some dealers that offer financing, just so you guys know.
Call in, Matt. Maybe we can figure something out to get that Petra sent out to you. Daryl, thank you, I will. And Matt again says, I have a lot of AR parts in my builds, a lot of Falcor AR parts. Thanks for the awesome products. So you did the tour. You saw some of the rifles, and I know you saw some of them down at Tony's. What drew you to Falcor, the brand? And, I know we have a little bit of a kinship, but what drew you to the brand? I know you've been a fan through Tony, and you did the tour and saw, a bunch of the different rifles that we manufacture here in the great state of Montana. What do you love about the brand, and what have you loved about the tour and meeting the team?
The durability of the rifle, actually. Like, I've seen Tony run his rifle every course that I've been with because I help Tony out now teach. So, seeing the durability of it, and I know Tony doesn't put his name on things that he doesn't believe in. Another thing, too, was that I loved about Falcor is, like, meeting you at the course and then Jason showing up at the course just to hang out with us and speak with us. You don't see a lot of people that high up, especially, like, owners and stuff, coming out and just chilling in with the regular peeps. Like at the course and just shooting the shit with us.
That's how we do.
So, everybody here has been down to earth. Nobody like walks around like how I talked about in Jujitsu. They don't walk around, oh yeah, I'm the shit. I work for Falcor, one of the biggest rifle companies in the world. No, it's like, hey, what's up, bro? You want to see some cool stuff? Like, I don't feel out of place here. Some places you walk in, you're like,
very stuffy.
Because we don't suck, that's why.
One thing, of course, about our ownership is, like I said, they're willing to get, our founders.
Down and dirty.
They're willing to get down and dirty.
They've done the courses.
Yep. They're not afraid to say, hey, let me check that out for myself, or let me send a guy down and let him, come back and give us some report. So that's one of the things the training aspect of the team here and the training aspect of ownership is something I will defend till the day I die. It is something that they've taken very seriously here. And I think it's important, and I just don't think you see enough of that. You meet rifle owners or rifle manufacturers, and you meet some people and you're like, have you ever really shot a gun?
Yeah.
Have you ever
They're
actually
the most
run
accredited of non-accredited.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, absolutely. Or, I think, we've covered so much. There's so much more I'd want to get to with you. Your mindset, is amazing. Your positivity, just some of these things that you bring to the table, and just even, the relentless training to get to the point that you got to, black belt in 8.5 years, and now law enforcement. I think you're going to have a great career. I think you're going to go on and do some amazing things. We'll kind of wrap on this, but I want to ask one more question. What, we talked about who inspires you, but what motivates you to continue, looking down the barrel of getting into law enforcement and saying, I'm going to do 20 years of this and I'm going to be the best cop I can be. And you've already mentioned to me you want to be SWAT and you want to do all these things. What is, if you had to point out one thing, is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it what motivates you? Because everyone has a motivator, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's money or success or accolades. What's your supreme motivator?
Like motivation wise, like I've got it all from like my parents and stuff like that, and friends, family, and all that. But my biggest motivation, that I wake up every morning and I'm like, damn, I'm trying to be better than the person I was yesterday. Every day I'm my own motivation. Every day I wake up, what can I do to be better? What can I learn today? Always walking in with that, what can I learn? I gotta learn something new. Like this morning I learned some new stuff about working out that I'm gonna implement in my workouts. So I'm always trying to be better than I was yesterday, and that's like my biggest motivation. I wake up every morning, I'm like, all right, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and not waste a day. Try to learn something within a day.
Time is the most precious commodity,
and you never get it back.
You can't buy it back, no matter what. And it's so simple, because people ask me all the time, and one of the promises I made Melinda and Jason when I got here was really a simple one. I said the company will be better the day I leave it than the day I got it. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'll make you that promise. And that's a simple promise. People can sit there and they can pull out flow graphs and charts.
It hasn't been easy, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. So, and for me, better is a big, for everybody, it's a bigger number, for some people, the lights get a little too bright, the stage gets a little too big, and it's too much to handle. But, I make promises like that with myself, just like you do. Mm-hmm. I want to be better tomorrow, today, than I was yesterday. I want to, what is it? The famous Matthew McConaughey speech. He said, "My hero is me in 5 years."
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of swagger in that statement, but there's also a certain amount of humility. I'm not good enough today. I want to be better tomorrow. Yeah. And I think, 100%. You have to make those promises with yourself to get ahead.
Because your biggest enemy is always going to be yourself, and your biggest motivator is always going to be yourself. You're going to have to motivate yourself during dark times, and you're also going to be like your biggest criticizer, because like I'll go and I'll do matches, I'm like, damn, I should did this, I should did that, should did this, and I'm always hard on myself, harder than anybody else is, like I gotta have coaches that are hard on me, but then I'm the one that has to live with myself every day, telling myself, man, you sucked at that, oh man, that was really great, but we can still do this.
You can't ask people to do things that you're not willing to do.
Exactly.
Especially on your team. I'll be the first to say, whoever wants to come to the gym with me, I've said it to Sam, I'm there at 5 a.m, let's go. Let's do it.
You said 5:30, but
5,
yeah, like Jocko Willink has, there's no such thing as bad teams, only bad leaders, and extreme ownership, owning up to the fact that you have to be a good leader, you know, and it starts with yourself. You have to own your mistakes and your flaws, and that's what you don't see a lot anymore is we're always pointing at who to blame rather than, hey, you know what, man, I screwed up. It's on me. I gotta own up to it. you know.
And I think, building a great team, whether it's in the jiu-jitsu or in a company, it all starts at the top. And I think you have to set a certain tone. And in setting that tone, it's really important to have transparency, organization, to get through your day and to just be better and just want to be better and want to improve it. And if you can't take a certain amount of critiquing and criticism in anything that you do and take it in a positive light and bring more positivity to your day, then I don't think you're doing yourself a service. I think you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So you've said it all.
Man, this has been a really solid episode of self-reflection.
I feel like a better man. So I can't thank you enough. I mean, who do you want to plug? Where can people find you? And what's the best avenue to reach out to you, maybe to learn more about jiu-jitsu?
Probably Instagram. I've been getting hit up a lot from Miami officers and up north too about the free jiu-jitsu classes that I put on Saturdays at a secure location. So everybody's been messaging me on Instagram. So if I can't get back to people, either I'm working or I'm training, but Instagram or Facebook.
What's your IG? Give the handles.
The IG is Ruben, Ruben, BJJ04. Or you're going to see it on your story all the time. You waking me up for the next few days.
I got you, boo. Where else on Facebook, and what would be the best approach to slide into your DMs?
Instagram. Facebook, I'm filled up and I barely go on Facebook.
Okay.
So Instagram's going to be where it's at.
So when someone slides into your DM, should they start with the nudes or should they open with, "Hey, Ruben, how are you?"
I like the subtle approach. Hey, Ruben. You start sliding in my DMs with like a random like raunchy pic, I think I'm not going to answer.
So don't slide in with a random raunchy pic, guys. So we have come to kind of the end here, Sam. Do you want to plug the contest one more time? And where
Cool.
people
When I do
can...
my little outro, I will.
You want to do?
When we're done for the day, then I'll tell everyone how to win.
I want to thank you, Ruben, for coming out. I know it's been a journey because you were in Cali for X amount of days. You were over at the Gracie camp there. You come out here, I get you off the plane, and I'm pushing you around and pulling you around. I got another day with you. We're going to hit the mats today a little bit, and you're going to show me a few more things. We're going to get a little more material, and hopefully Falcor will have a better understanding of your community and the things that you hold important. And I think that it goes without saying that you're a great friend, and for coming out here and doing this.
Thanks, man.
And you're a great friend to Falcor. We appreciate you, and we can't thank you enough. It means a lot, and it goes without saying that that we appreciate you and everything that you do on the job and everything in between. So keep doing what you're doing. You always have a home here. You always have a place at my place, and I can't thank you enough.
Appreciate it. No, I'm just happy to be here. I want to thank Falcor. Thank you. Thank all the guys, girls, everybody that.
And hopefully maybe we'll get food at Melinda's tonight. I don't know. There could be food in the cards. I don't know, dinner or something.
I just can't wait to go on the mat with you in a few minutes.
No. No. So we're going to kick it to Sam for the outro. If anyone has any questions or anyone wants to reach out, please head over to Falcor Defense on YouTube. What? You got an announcement. D. Mitchell's steaming.
You mentioned the YouTube discount.
Yeah.
And payment plans for those live right now. So I posted. Send us an email, info@falcordefense.com.
Yep.
We'll follow up and make it happen.
We will make it happen. If you want to buy a rifle and you are on YouTube, we will make it happen. Send an email to info@. We'll give you some kind of discount. It's not going to be free, so please get that out of your head now. We love you guys, but we also got bills to pay.
This is a business.
This is a business. So, but we will take care of you guys on YouTube because I know some of you guys have been anxious. So get in touch with our sales team. Maybe I can talk to ownership here and we can work out a special viewer discount. Maybe I catch Melinda in a good mood. We can and we can work something out. We can set everybody's payment plan aside. We'll do a coupon.
What is that supposed to mean?
So we'll figure it out. But we appreciate all you guys that watch it on YouTube. Please head over to Falcor Defense on YouTube. Please like and subscribe and tap that little bell for announcements. Please. Like this video, for sure, and share it. The more you share it, the deeper the discount may become. Yeah. So we appreciate everyone. Head over to the podcast on iTunes, Behind the Flame. Behind the Flame on iTunes. Please leave a review. Leaving a review is key. We will be doing another review-based contest. You are all-inclusive in the review. Leave your Instagram name under the review. Austin is monitoring that very closely. He's going to be doing another giveaway very shortly where the reviews will be selecting the winner from the reviews. So Behind the Flame. And Derek is going to have a major announcement right now about Stitcher, Spotify, and everywhere else you can find us. But I appreciate you, and I'm going to throw it over to Derek and Sam for the outros. But I want Derek's announcement because everybody is feverishly waiting for Spotify.
All right, all you Android users, here's Derek with our announcement for new distribution channels for Behind the Flame.
Tell the people. All right, so we have a video feed that you guys have been enjoying now for like 14 episodes. We're gonna have an audio-only feed for those of you that are on Stitcher and Spotify and SoundCloud. What else? I'm missing a bunch, but it's coming soon. It's been submitted. We're waiting for feedback and approval.
Your favorite podcasting application?
All of them coming to a device near you. All right, Sam, take it away.
All right, guys. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to watch Behind the Flame today from the Falcor Defense Headquarters in Kalispell, Montana. John already did all the thanks, so I'm going to give you guys just a couple housekeeping things for the giveaway. Make sure you head over to our Instagram page, like our latest post, and tag a friend, as well as head over to iTunes. Leave a review for Behind the Flame with your Instagram handle in the comments section, and we will make sure that you're entered to win. Today's giveaway will include a swag pack from Blue Line Tactical, Kenzie's Optics, and a Falcor Defense swag pack with some Fury mag extensions. We want to thank all our sponsors. That's, again, Kenzie's Optics, 221B Tactical, Chick-fil-A Kalispell.
Where will Austin be announcing the winner? Are you going to put it in the stories?
We'll put it in. We did the same thing last week. We got a thing going on. It's all good.
Pick it in the story. Make sure you're commenting, liking, tagging. Do it.
Yeah, man. All right. Again, thanks to all our show sponsors, and we will see you guys next time. That's this Friday with Marissa Loren on Behind the Flame.